There are no easy answers to any of the questions prompted by Alec Gibney's documentary, We Steal Secrets, the story of Wikileaks. That's understandable. The subject is as complex and philosophical as anything on our topsy-turvy map of current events. However, I'm lucky to be able to speak to Natalie Robin Banks, the co-founder of the West Australian Wikileaks Citizens Alliance, and find out more about this hotly debated subject. Good day, Natalie.
Hello, Maltini. Nice to speak with you.
And welcome to 89.7.
Thank you.
To start with, can you please tell us how you got involved with this organisation?
Sure. I've been following the Wikileaks case for over a year now, and at that time I was unfortunately out of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came back to Australia, I came back to Perth, Western Australia, and I sort of did some research to see what was being done regarding WikiLeaks, Julian Assange and Bradley Manning, and there was a gap that I saw in regards to awareness, at least, in regards to WikiLeaks. So I founded, with a couple of other people, the West Australian WikiLeaks Citizens Alliance.
How many people do you have in your group?
There's three of us that are the main administrators of the that manage the actual alliance, and then we actually also work with various other grassroots companies and organisations, such as the Socialist Alliance and Socialist Movement and Occupy Perth. So there's and multiple. There's about 1,000 people in Occupy Perth and around about 500 people in the Socialist Alliance.
Now, what are the aims and ideals of the WikiLeaks Citizen Alliance?
So the first aim has been to have awareness at the first stage in regards to what is occurring for Julian Assange, what is occurring for WikiLeaks, and of course what is happening currently with Bradley Manning as he faces his court trial.
Hasn't his court trial already been... I thought I read the other day that he has been to court I think it was about 2 or 3 days ago, isn't it?
His actual the court-martial trial is scheduled to be about 12 weeks long. So that started on the 3rd of June.
That's
so it's
right.
Ongoing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, it's ongoing.
Yes.
And it goes on for 12 weeks.
That's what they've actually scheduled the trial for. So we'll wait and see. They actually, last week they ran ahead of schedule, but so we'll see how they go, but they have scheduled 12 weeks.
Now, how long has this organisation, which is the WikiLeaks Citizen Alliance, how long has it been in existence in WA?
In Western Australia, it's only been up and running for a month, since I've returned to Western Australia myself.
Oh, so basically you're the one that started the whole thing, really?
Correct, yes,
Oh.
with a couple of other people, yes.
Very dynamic.
Yes, but there tends to be a need for it. There is an Australian, a national WikiLeaks Citizens Alliance, and they tend to be a little bit more on the east coast of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So as I said, I saw the gap and I thought that there was a need to do something in Western Australia.
Excellent. Now that we know a little about your background, let's have a chat about some of the issues that Alex Gibney talks about that you feel are untrue. Now, I looked up the Oxford Dictionary for the meaning of the word to steal.
Yes.
It said it was taking another person's property without permission or legal right.
Yes.
Now, this is what your organisation has done with reference to the information from the US government. Why then are you not happy with the title of the film?
Well, actually, I would beg to differ the fact that you would say WikiLeaks stole anything. WikiLeaks is like a publishing, it's an organisation, it's a publisher. And just like yourself in Twin Cities FM,
Yep.
you publish information. And what had happened in this scenario, particularly with what's occurring with Bradley Manning and what is shown within We Steal Secrets, the WikiLeaks story, is that what that actually occurred is that a young soldier at 22 years of age has seen what he believes to be some war crimes that have occurred and has actually come out to be true. And he's provided documents to a publisher, which is actually to be WikiLeaks, and WikiLeaks has gone and published those on its website. There has not been any stealing involved when it comes to WikiLeaks. This is not a WikiLeaks story. WikiLeaks doesn't steal anything. And when you actually look at the Oxford Dictionary regards what stealing actually involves, it has an intent where it's not going to be returned. The property, whatever is meant to be stolen, will not be returned. Wikileaks actually publishes that information for the whole world to see. So I have the whole world. The issue, the fact that it has the word "steal" in the title, is a major issue. Let alone the fact that the story actually doesn't even focus on WikiLeaks. It focuses on Julian Assange, and it focuses on his rivalries, and it focuses on Bradley Manning.
Okay, but now what Bradley Manning did was basically steal, because he took away information from the US government that was not supposed to be revealed. I mean, I know you say that, okay, he handed it over to Julian Assange, which, okay, you don't call stealing. But Bradley Manning appeared to be a very important part of the whole WikiLeaks setup. And so, although it's not been done by Julian Assange, it's been done by somebody in his group, and that's why they've used the word "we steal secrets."
Okay, so there's a couple of things to that, I guess. Bradley Manning was never involved in WikiLeaks. He was not a part of the organisation. So
at the moment, he's not at all?
No, he's not. He was a US Army soldier.
Right, I understand that.
Yes.
But I thought that he, when he left the army or he was discharged, he sort of got in touch with Julian Assange and, of course, dropped information in the Dropbox that you all provide. And then they became quite close, both Assange and Manning decided to join the organisation. That's the idea I got.
Right, okay, well, there's a lot of that is wrong. First of all, there has not been any proof that Bradley Manning was talking to Julian Assange.
Mm-hmm.
So he was talking to someone definitely from the WikiLeaks organisation. He has admitted to the fact that he has provided information to WikiLeaks, but there's not been any proof that whoever he was speaking to in regards to how that was done was actually Julian Assange. That's the first thing. There's definitely, Bradley Manning has not and never has worked for or been involved in the WikiLeaks organisation.
Okay.
He was actually somebody who provided information.
Right.
Just like I may have to you.
That's right. Okay.
So I wasn't aligned to you. I just have...
Yeah, I asked for it and you're providing it. So in a similar way, Bradley Manning did the same for WikiLeaks.
That's right.
Okay.
So, but there's also a lot of the things that is going on at the moment, which is all hearsay. So it's still out in the court. So as I was saying, it's still a 12-week trial to uncover a lot of the information that has been, or rumoured,
Yes.
that is actually hearsay at the moment. So,
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it is a very sort of cloudy situation at the moment, because obviously we're dealing with secrets, we're dealing with information that can't really be accessed by people, and therefore there's this heavy cloud that hangs over the whole situation, which I can understand.
Well, I guess, Multi, I guess that it's very interesting timing for this interview because what Bradley Manning is being portrayed as is in some ways from the US government as someone who is a traitor to the US, and on the flip side of that is also a whistleblower. Mm-hmm. Now, what's actually missing from Alex Gibney's movie is that what Bradley Manning, the young soldier, discovered was war crimes. Now, there is actually a law where he can actually go up to his superiors and say to them, I have an issue with this. This is a war crime taking place. If they ignore his request, then of course, what action does he have? There's a lot of whistleblowers that have come out, and quite recently, in this week, Edward Snowden has come out with as a whistleblower on the NSA in America.
Mm-hmm.
And the information that's coming out of these is quite important for our history, and it's quite important for people to discuss and to know. And I guess the big question comes to mind about is how much is the US actually hiding, and does it need to be labelled a secret? These people are put in place for the public. We pay them to be put in place to work for us. And I definitely wouldn't want war crimes to be hidden from myself. I wouldn't want me to be paying an officer to have those war crimes hidden. Yeah,
but unfortunately, war is something that does produce crime, and I mean, it's it's something, I know it's not a good thing, but it's something that one has to learn to live with, because people will always be wanting to acquire territory from others, and it's just one of those situations. Now, the impression I got of Bradley Manning was a confused kid that did not fully realize the potent weapons he had in terms of the stash of information that he had downloaded from the US government files. However, Manning's alleged leaks represent a fraction of the WikiLeaks portfolio. What really ticked off the US government was WikiLeaks' partnership with the New York Times and the UK Guardian, who splashed information about the war logs. This was the main problem, not Bradley Manning, who was just a scapegoat. Do you agree?
Oh, that's a very interesting question, and there's a couple of facets to that. Bradley Manning, in my opinion, and unfortunately, once again, this is not portrayed in Gibney's documentary.
Yep.
But he had a full hour and discussed the reasons why he did what he did, why he actually presented this information to WikiLeaks. Now, in regards to the New York Times and the Washington Post,
yep.
Bradley Manning initially wanted to use those publications as his way of getting his message out. But unfortunately, they weren't. Washington Post didn't get back to him in regards to his calls, and various other things prevented that from occurring. So he went through the anonymous Dropbox through WikiLeaks.
Right.
Just getting back to your question, whether or not the US is focused on the publishers,
yes,
or they're focused on Bradley Manning.
Yes.
I think they're focused on both. You have to argue that he is. They are, because you've got Bradley Manning currently, as I said, facing a 12-week trial where he could be charged for life for various kinds, including treason and aiding the enemy, as well as obviously the publishers, which is, in this case, WikiLeaks.
Yep.
So I think that definitely they're focusing on both.
Well, I suppose Bradley Manning, yes, they're focusing on him because, of course, he's part of the American setup and they can't penalize him. Whereas with, the two publications, it's not that easy because obviously they don't work for them. But anyway, I mean, you've put your point across and that's fine. Now, you are part of the inner circle. A review on the net denies the fact that the going price for an interview with Assange is $1 million. Does Assange charge a fee, or what are the reasons that will convince Julian to talk and provide an interview?
Actually, interesting you said this, because there is an annotated transcript which WikiLeaks has on their website, which is wikileaks.org, and WikiLeaks has provided responses to a lot of these questions that you're asking me, and a lot of the public potentially would ask once they see the film.
Yep.
And Assange denies that he said that the going rate for him was $1 million per interview. And he has provided interviews, as you know, variously, quite a lot of interviews. And he's also, there's a couple of other films that are coming out soon, which is with an Academy Award winner. I've forgotten her name, but her first name is
Laura Poitras.
That's the one.
I'm going to ask you about that in due course as well.
Yeah, so he's provided an interview to Laura with no particular concerns or worries in regards to that. There does seem to be, and unfortunately I wasn't privy to the discussions between Alex Gibney and Julian Assange. Something went wrong there, and it seems to be a breakdown in communication from what I've read. And Julian Assange decided that he didn't want to continue with the interview any further.
So you don't know what, that was going to lead me to my next questions. Why did the breakdown occur? But you obviously don't know about that.
No, I mean, I've read various rumours in regards to what it may have been, but I don't know the true facts behind that.
Okay. In another review, Gibney indicated that Assange felt an interview was not a mutual transaction. Don't you think this is rather unusual for somebody who runs a so-called transparent organization?
Well, I think we're touching on the similar issues of what was raised in the previous question.
Yes.
Was there's something went wrong in their negotiation. Julian Assange obviously has had some bad press, and some of his enemies that obviously have an issue with the fact of what he's done, which is to publish some documents that the US would have preferred to have been hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those people are violently opposed to what Julian Assange has done and wanting to portray him in a very negative light. Well, there's a lot of aspects to who Julian Assange is, and unfortunately these people tend to just focus on those negative things. And so if I was in Julian Assange's shoes, I'd want to be able to say, well, can we have a balanced documentary here? And this is where I think potentially there may have been some breakdown in communications or some concern in regards to the balance of the view of this particular documentary, which, as it turns out, is actually correct. He should have been concerned.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw the film and I thought, in fact, it was beautifully done because it showed a man who was brilliant, which Assange is. There's no doubt about that. He's got a brain like a computer, but at the same time, this man is very human and has got a lot of human failings, and that's all Gibney wanted to tell us. I think basically, it was a very balanced representation of Assange in, a very balanced. That's what I thought.
Yes, and this is where I'm actually hearing from a lot of the information I've read is a lot of people do believe that this movie is balanced, where I would actually argue that. I believe people walk away at the end of that movie thinking that Assange, Bradley Manning and Wikileaks are destroyed, that there's no further role that they play in life, and as a matter of fact, I think they have a huge role to play in life. So,
I think so, absolutely. Now, when Gibney refused to pay Assange for his interview, he was then asked to spy on other interview subjects for Assange's benefit. Is this the official policy of the organisation?
Now, just to clarify, I am not a WikiLeaks speaker. I am actually a Citizens Alliance, so I'm not speaking on behalf of WikiLeaks. I'm speaking on behalf of the Alliance.
Yeah,
however, I can answer that question.
Okay, yes.
Because once again, Julian Assange has provided has provided an annotated transcript that goes through all of these particular questions.
Mm-hmm.
And
what does it say? Because, I mean, some of my listeners may not have the time to,
I understand. I don't have the transcript right in front of me right now. I can actually go and grab it. It's just in the other room.
Right.
However, what he does refer to, or what he basically, in not as wonderful words as WikiLeaks,
yes,
says is that he has concerns of the fact that there is a grand jury and an indictment against him that could potentially see him extradited to the US to face similar charges to what Bradley Manning is currently facing. And so therefore, his concerns were relayed to Alex Gibney, and his basic conversation was, if you hear anything, can you let me know? Not, can you spy?
Oh, right, okay.
But as I said, those are not as eloquent words.
Yeah, I mean, but you've conveyed the idea of how it came about. That statement came about anyway. So people have to, can then think for themselves and determine what they want to.
Correct, yes.
On his website, Assange says that no one from his organisation agreed to participate with the producers of We Sell Secrets. Is this true?
Yes, so the current structure of WikiLeaks, we have the spokesperson, obviously we have the editor, which is Julian Assange, and Julian Assange is not seen in the movie in a interview process that is obviously done for the documentary. What he's seen and how he's seen is snippets of previous documentaries or previous interviews that Gibney has slotted into various areas to portray whatever he wishes to portray.
So basically nobody did really speak to him at all.
No, and also Christian Hasmanson, I'm not sure of saying his correct surname.
Right.
Is the spokesperson, and he wasn't interviewed either. So no current WikiLeaks staff members or anyone involved in the organisation partook in that interview, and therefore, once again, there's some concerns there in regards to the so-called balance of that documentary.
Right, okay. I would love to keep on talking to you. I'm just looking at the watch and I'm thinking, oh my God, unfortunately, I've got to end shortly because my time slot is only till 3 o'clock and I have to say goodbye to my listeners as well. But thank you so much, Natalie, for talking to us on 89.7.
You're welcome, Molly.
I'm sure my audience will be most interested in going to see this film, which is coming to the Luna Cinema shortly.
Yes, July 4th. And we will be there offering any type of
information,
obviously, to actually provide a different point of view or a different side of the equation.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Melody.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.